Texas OU. Saturday is here. Red River rivalry is 10:01, and OU still sucks. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We are ready to get started. We'll wait for some more people to come on in and connect. We do have the live feed that's going to the social media on YouTube and to Facebook. If you have not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, I encourage you to do that. You can find it on Facebook, and we might even throw the link up at the end here so that everybody is ready to go and informed. But we're going to get started as we get ready to go to start off this hashtag best at home Texas OU pregame show. It's the first time we've ever done this. 2020 with the pandemic and everything that's going on has brought so many new trials and struggles, and I'm just so appreciative of all of the best volunteers and leadership that have come together for us to figure out ways that we can continue to press forward and raise money for scholarships and continue to connect with other alumni. I do want to give a special shout out for everybody that was able to join us from Soul Night on last night. Just so you know, we had a goal of $5,000 for last night. The stretch goal for last night was $7,000. I'm here to report to you after we reconcile all the numbers. Last night at Soul Night and with the pre-registrations, we have raised $6,700 that will go directly toward the best scholarship program. All of you had a hand in doing that. Now, as I just said, that was yesterday. 5,000, 7,000 stretch. So today we need to go and bust that stretch goal, and then now we need to add at least another 2,500 on top of it. So we're already at 6,700. So I'll let you math with y'all. I want you to y'all can figure that out. So really, the goal is really more like 10, and we got to stretch to get there, and we got to make sure that we're giving back and supporting our students. With that, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the pregame show. We'll have, just so you know, we'll have the pregame show where me and my co-host will talk about a variety of different things. We'll have some guests that join us, and we'll step through some analysis of the game and talk about a special entity that we have some partnerships with. And then at the end, we'll go to the virtual tailgate. So each of you who have joined us will have an opportunity to turn your cameras on, and it's our version of the fan cam. So it's the Black alumni, tailgate cam, where you can wave, you can shout out if you got something good going on the stove, or you've already laid out your spread for the game. You can show us what you got going on, and we're just gonna have a good time as we all prepare for kickoff. So with all that being said, I'm Alshare Hughes. I'm one of the co-hosts for the pregame show today. Very happy to be here with you. If you've been around Best, I've probably seen you somewhere. And very happy to have my co-host joining me. I'll let Marcus introduce himself to us.
How's it going, everybody? Marcus Myers, happy to be here and kick off another Texas OU weekend.
All right, Marcus, tell the people, you played ball. See, humble. See, he's a humble guy. Be quiet now. No, don't say nothing now. So Marcus, he played for the university from 02 to 06, right? So he was on the national championship team, and he's real good dude. And so I'm very happy to have his insight and different things. So as we kind of get started for the day, and before we get to bringing in our host, it is important for you to understand again that we're here to raise. We want to connect, but we also want to raise some scholarship money for today. So what we're going to do is really kind of start off just talking about the game. Here we go. We're going to start off with the Texas OU. Very different environment this year. Obviously they've limited capacity, so instead of being the normal 100,000 fans in the stadium, split down the middle, orange, and then whatever dirty red color that they have, split down the middle. It's loud at any point in the game because somebody's cheering for something. If you've never been, you got to go. But now this year with the pandemic, so capacity is limited to 25,000 people. Obviously, the state fair is closed, so that I think contribute. It'll just be a different environment. So, Marcus, what are your thoughts on just how the environment of the game will be different, and what do you think that'll impact will have on the players, or at least their experience in the game this year?
Yeah, man, I definitely think it'll be a different experience. As you said before, it's something you truly have to kind of witness in person to fully grasp. The gravity of what those crowds can kind of do to the game. It's truly split right down the middle. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it, with the limited capacity and trying to social distance. If anything, it'll probably benefit the guys that don't have as much experience in the game, just because it won't be something, as foreign to them. I mean, it'll still, kind of be a unique atmosphere, but, most likely, some of the nerves that potentially would come with what that full crowd would look like might be a little less. So, that could be something that could benefit the guys that haven't played in the game before.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. What's your, as we begin to kind of talk about where the team is and how everything's going this year, what's your kind of high level initial thoughts about where the team is this year, or thoughts on the program in general?
I mean, I think, there's a really high standard, at the University of Texas. I mean, you mentioned, when the time that I was there, I guess a lot of people kind of refer to it as the golden years of Texas football and sports in general. I mean, all the programs on campus were competing at a really high level at that time. And so I think these guys have, been trying to kind of climb out of the shadow of that. They've been trying to find a way, to compete up to that level and that standard that, that we kind of come to expect. And so, as I mean, with us all being Texas fans now, it's certainly not something that, we don't take losing well. And so I think these guys are having to try and navigate their way in a really difficult year. I'm not really sure how we would have handled, a time like this. We have pandemic and civil unrest and, you name it. So it's a really unique time, I guess, for them to be on campus and kind of going through some of the things that they're going through. And I think more than anything, they just got to learn how to win and have to, have a good understanding that with them being Texas, people, they play a little bit harder. They kind of get up a little bit higher for the games against us. So that was something that we always went into the games knowing. And I think these guys are still trying to kind of work through and have a good understanding of that.
Yeah, and then to kind of further extend that point is the impact of the coaching staff. I mean, this is a big game. And even, Tom Herman, whatever you think about his background, whatever you think about how he's doing with the program, he came to UT with the kind of moniker of being a big game coach. But his programs, even at U of H, they sometimes would lose to lesser opponents. And unfortunately, we kind of have fell into that, even this year. Interesting notes about the game for today. This is the first time since 1999 that neither team is in the top 20. I guess we come in ranked at 22. And it's important to understand, OU has 2 losses. Of those 2 losses, they are by a combined, 10 points. So it's not like they're just packing it in for every one of those. And we know we're going to get, their best shot today. So with this being a big game for us, how do we turn it on and come through? Not only just for the players, but also I think that starts with the coaching staff as well. So now we come with the preparation and the intensity, and then we got to come with the execution to take care of business today.
Yeah, definitely. And, to your same point, I think I read some kind of stat that said like the last 10 times that there's been a first time quarterback, in this game, that the quarterback that had already played in it before has a record of like 8-2 or 9-1, something like that. But that's kind of going back to me kind of thinking that with the crowd situation being a little bit different, maybe that's not as big of an impact this year. So it'll be an interesting game. I mean, OU's always a really talented team. You never can really count, Lincoln Riley out, and they're kind of, back against the wall. They've already lost 2 in a row. So they're certainly going to kind of pull out all the stops. I wouldn't doubt if we see a number of trick plays or you name it.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Spencer Rattler, of course, he is a freshman. He played. Yeah, Spencer Rattler, their freshman quarterback. He played a little bit last year, I guess, but he just was able to still redshirt. So he is a freshman, this being his first year playing in the Cotton Bowl for the Red River rivalry. So those are some great points. And you and I will still get to offer some other thoughts later. Right now, I do want to go ahead and bring in our first guest that's going to jump in and join us a little bit. I have the great opportunity to introduce Matt Melton to everybody here. He also is a former Longhorn football player, member of Eta Theta chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated at the University of Texas at Austin. Hey, Matt, go ahead and tell a little bit more about the people, about yourself, and then jump right into telling us what's your high-level thoughts about the game today.
Yeah, so Matthew Melton, I graduated from UT in 2007, was actually roommates with Marcus Myers for quite a while, and played on the same team, came in 2002 and finished up in 2006. That Alamo Bowl being the last game, was a member of the national championship team in 2005. I would say that, historically, the Texas versus Oklahoma game has always been a game that has a lot of intensity, bragging rights, regardless of the team's records coming into the game and how they played. I think it's one of those games where you got to come out and try to, match the team's intensity early on. I mean, there's a lot of animosity on both sides because historically the game has always been a game with a lot on the line. But, even regardless of how the teams have played come in this game, I think that, you're going to come out and the team's going to give you, Oklahoma's going to give you their best effort. They're going to come out and try to hit you in the mouth, especially coming out of, losing 2 games where they haven't played well. Lincoln Riley's a great coach, have those guys ready to play. And I personally think it's, the defense has to step up big in this game. We haven't played well probably the last 2 games, last 2 weekends. And it's important for them to take some of the early kind of, as we would call it, hits in the mouth and kind of rebound and be willing to play hard all game, minimize mistakes on defense. And I think really the most key point of this game is going to be special teams. Special teams really involves controlling field position. And if we can play well on special teams and not make mistakes, we can put ourselves in a position where, at least on offense, we don't have to have long fields, or on defense having short fields in order to minimize, some of the opportunities, or make Oklahoma have to drive all the way down the field and force them to outplay us on offense and let our defense kind of get used to the tempo of the game.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I didn't really, a lot of the guys that will join us today are a lot of defensive guys. We got a couple of offensive guys that will throw in as well. And just, I think the thing that people can always, comment on is tackling. And I think that's one of my kind of keys to the game that I'm thinking about is how can we limit their offensive productivity, after contact. But even before you get to that point, hopefully not having any, just wide open plays where somebody scampers down the field untouched. And I know there's been an image going around that got shared from the TCU game where you look up the middle of the field and there's, because of the formation of the defense, there's nobody anywhere close. So let's put that better get untouched. Let's put that aside, hopefully. And really just talk about one of the keys for me is limiting for them yards after contact. Get them solid tackling, get them on the ground. And then for us, some of our playmakers, do the exact opposite and then break some tackles and make some big plays. For Matt, what do you think some of the keys is, or who's some of the players that you think need to have a big game today for us to just make this thing where the second half is just a party for us?
Yeah, no, that's a good point you mentioned about yards after contact. I mean, I would say that, not necessarily getting individual names, but I would say the secondary needs to play big this game. And with respect to, like you mentioned, limiting yards after contact and really limiting mental errors. I mean, this is a game where you're going to have probably some big plays happen. And a lot of that stuff happens where guys are not paying attention to their keys. And, and it's going to be important. And when something goes wrong, guys kind of, build each other up and hold each other up and have some accountability on the sideline and be like, look, where we make a mistake this play, let's fix it, get it cleaned up, and that's not allowed to keep happening during the game. But I think the yards after contact is a big one. I mean, in games like this where it can come down to kind of the fourth quarter and games are tight, things like that really do add up. And, like I said, I think the secondary needs to really play big this game and, we got to limit them in the run game and, more importantly, limit the big plays, because when you allow big plays to happen, momentum can shift quickly. And before you know it, you're behind and you're playing catch up.
Marcus, where did your former roommate, what did he miss? What did he get wrong, Marcus?
Nah, man, Matt usually is he's pretty on top of it. I think one of the keys I think I'll be looking for, I'd love for our defense to step it up, but I can't say that I have the confidence that they'll be able to fully, slow a Lincoln Riley coached offense, down for 4 quarters. So, I think one of the things we used to always be told is sometimes the other team's going to get theirs, but to Matt's earlier point, you don't let one play beat you twice. So you got to have short memory out there, be able to, kind of take, some of the punches that are going to come along with it. One thing Coach Brown's used to always drill into us is, how you finish the first half, the last 2 minutes of the first half and start the first 2 minutes of the second half is usually a big indicator of how the game's going to go for you. And so I think, being able to go into and coming out of a half with momentum will be key. And then we have some pretty good, matchup advantages that we can take, if they go that route, right? I mean, we have some really big receivers, tight ends. You got a 6'6" guy and a 6'7", and a lot of their corners are a lot smaller. So I'll be interested to see if we, try and take advantage of some of those matchups along the seams. But it'll be a good game and tons of emotional swings.
Oh, absolutely with that. And then instead of 100,000 people, yelling in the stadium, and then the thousands that are gathered at the best, watch parties, we'll all be doing it from home. And I just want to encourage everybody, don't throw anything at your TV because it is your TV. Hey, Matt, we appreciate you joining us, man. Bro, and enjoy the game, enjoy the family, and we'll be connecting soon. Hey, and as we go on with the rest of the show, I do want to make sure I remind for the people who have joined us now that so far, Texas OU is one of the biggest fundraising weekends for BEST, Black Egg Students of Texas. And this is where we raise our money so that we can primarily fund our scholarship program and do other programmatic things around student retention and student recruitment that we do on campus and throughout the state as well. So last night we had a goal of 5,000, stretch goal of 7,000. We ended up raising 6,700 because of the contribution that y'all have made, especially for the folks who were on Soul Night. If you weren't on Soul Night, now gives your opportunity to give. If you're on social media, you can catch us so you can see where we are, but you can go to the Eventbrite page or you can Cash App. It's hashtag Black X's, EXES. You can PayPal to utblackx's@yahoo.com, or you can just visit blackx's.net and you can get redirected to any and all of those opportunities to give. It is important to know, and we want everybody to know that since 2003, BEST has awarded $60,000 in scholarships. And some of that has been our annual awards, and then some of that has been money that we've contributed to endowment efforts on campus. And the great thing about endowments is those become perpetual awards where money is awarded year after year to students, and with the principle being intact. And we're getting ready for some big things that are coming that we want to do around endowments. But we'll say those announcements for another time. But it is important to note that that's what we're doing and that's where we're going. So now we'll move on to the next segment of our show. We have a fellow alum that's going to join us here in a second. I don't see him popping up yet. Thoma Brewer. He's in Houston. He's going to join us for a little bit. There you go. Mask up for safety. There you go. How you doing this morning, brother?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How are we doing?
I'm good. And I know you were part of the host team and support team last night for Soul Night. So appreciate your service and labor there.
Yeah, it was an amazing event. It was a lot of good money
this morning. Thoma, for those that don't know, of course, he trips. He goes to the home games. He's involved in that one of those annual trips to a road game each year. Of course, we all three of us were on the Notre Dame trip. I know all of us are disappointed that we weren't able to make the trip and turn Baton Rouge orange this year. But the LSU might have escaped one, but now I'm not sure. Hey, Thoma, what's your thoughts? What's on your mind for the game today?
So I'm really excited. Not for the outcome of the game, which I believe I've already recorded my winning video. At 9:25, I recorded. I'll play it after we win. But I'm expecting to see a really good competitive game. I want to see consistency from Sam, and offensively, our offensive line. I want us to get a press and a push. I actually really appreciate and value Spencer Rattler. Like this young man, in a year or two, I think he's going to be an amazing player. He's still young, and so you see some of that in the headspace. But I'm excited to see him. There's a little bit of nervousness there, but I'm looking forward to it. It's interesting we're doing it virtually, but I still have the same intensity and the same belief that we will always come out victorious. But I'm excited about it, man.
Yeah. That's the thing about young players. Sometimes they don't know that they're supposed to be intimidated by the moment. So then the commentators or that are normally doing the games or fan bases can kind of be surprised. Sometimes it takes those young guys that are either trying to prove themselves or they don't know that they're supposed to be nervous. They're just trying to do their thing or make a name, for themselves. What's your thoughts on that, Marcus?
Yeah, man, I think, you see some guys have some big performances. I remember Jamal kind of breaking out in this game in the past. And so it's a game where you can really make a name for yourself if you go out there and make a big play. And that can sometimes be the confidence that'll take a young guy into, kind of that next level. And so sometimes it's, getting on a big stage and having a little bit of the jitters, but then going out there and performing and realizing like, okay, like I can get with these guys too. So, I think that'll be key because there's still, a number of young guys, particularly, in the offensive skill spots that, don't have a ton of experience, or even some that have some of the experience, needing to have a bit of a confidence boost. And so, a game like this is an opportunity to do that. And I think OU has a defense that, should be a bit susceptible to, kind of giving up some chunk plays. And that would be something, I think that would help these guys get off to a fast start.
Yeah. And just, I know as we started talking about the freshmen, talking about Spencer Rattler or young players in general, but I think on offense for us, not Joshua Moore, and I think he saw as a sophomore, I think he has the ability to just really make some plays to help us out and stretch the field, really a dynamic player. And then, of course, we have John Robinson, at running back, the freshman, who, when we all saw that play when he kind of leaped over and landed out, bent over. I mean, you would have thought he was really injured, but praise God for flexibility and muscles, because but we haven't really, I don't think we haven't really seen him a lot, and I kind of wonder, are they still letting him grasp more of the playbook, or are they holding him back to try to then make a big impact? But he has that explosiveness that can really help in a big game, as long as you can still put him in spaces where he's confident and moving forward and doing his thing. So, hey, Thoma, so you're there in Houston. Tell us. Well, we're gonna come back to you later so we can see more of what's going on. But what's the vibe? What's the feeling around Houston?
So we're in Houston right now at the Studio Movie Grill in City Center for a private function. And last night we raised awareness and scholarship money for Best Based Scholarships. And so thank you to everybody who was really engaged. But today I'm really promoting awareness for Miss Brenda Burt, who is an icon in my era, my generation, in terms of her impact on the student community at UT. And we're raising funds towards her endowed scholarship. She spent 34 years at UT, and she was a mom to many students of all colors, but specifically the African-American population at UT. So today is a small private event, and we are just raising awareness and starting the fundraising push for Miss Burt's Scholarship Fund. I'm excited to be a part of that, and thankful to have the opportunity to go to UT and with great alumni. And so that's what we're doing today. Plus, we're going to get this.
Well, cool, and we'll come back to you later when we get to the virtual tailgate portion. And so that endowment that Thoma mentioned there, that's one of the endowments that Best, one of, just like all the others, that Best also always contributes to, because we're all going in the same direction. Most of the endowments that are in place the money is managed through the Texas Students Association, endowment and financial department. And so you get the overhead and the structure. And so we continue to partner with the Black Alumni Network and work alongside with the precursors. So we're all going in the same direction. We're all striving toward the same goal, and we work together. So you can still go to TexasX's website and you can give directly to the Brenda Burt Endowed Award that you mentioned, or if you want to donate to Best, and then some of that money will go there, but it also go other places too. So
just a note, real quick, on the Black Alumni Network, we're revamping the site for those scholarships. So next week you will see the link will be active again. So we took it down so we can revamp and put some different graphics there. So just a heads up.
So, but the main point is, however you want to give, those are opportunities for you to give. And as we said last night, we had a goal of 5,000, stretch goal of 7,000. We raised 6,700, but that was just for yesterday. We really are striving to raise another 2,500 to 5,000. Today. Texas OU being one of the biggest fundraising weekends that we have throughout the year that has continued to fund and support us. So Thoma, we'll be sure to check you back later and tell all the people coming in to join the private event there to be camera ready when we start the virtual tailgate. As we get ready to transition a little bit more, we do also want to make sure that people know other things that Best has been doing. And since over the last year and a half, through our partnership with Indeed, we have awarded 18 MacBook scholarships to current students at the university. And now then going into the spring of 2021, we'll be awarding an additional 10 MacBooks to current students. They needed them, they use them anyway, but now even more so during this time of pandemic and going more and more virtual, they'll continue to use those things. So great partnership that Best Austin has been able to lead and forge to make with Indeed, and we look forward to being able to redo the mentoring event in person that we were unable to do at regular homecoming in our schedule this year. But we're gonna keep pressing forward, and hey, we need to still raise scholarship money. The tuition bills don't stop, housing and fees don't stop. I think everybody probably, I don't know if they up the technology fee or not. But we're gonna try to continue to do our part to help and support the students. Next, we're gonna bring in our guest from another location in Houston. If we could go live with that feed, Trey, I don't know if you're doing it or Summer is going live. As we get ready to transition there too, whether it's last night and then today, I want to give a big shout out to Summer McElroy, Tamika Sadler, Kim Ross, and Adrian Payne. So you don't see them on the screen. They make me come on and talk. But they're doing all the things in the background for the platforms that we're doing the Zoom, and then pushing to the social media platforms for the live stream. And so they're not only laboring yesterday and today, but really even in preparation, along with many other volunteers. But they're grinding and they're putting in work. As we get ready to go live with the feed from the station. Again, I think I said this earlier, but this is the first time since 1999 that neither team is ranked in the top 20. But I think with a big game like today, Marcus, the popular saying we always say is the records don't matter. You can throw all the ratings out for a game like this. What do you think? Yeah. You agree with that?
Yeah, man. I mean, like there's been years where we've been unranked and OU's been in the top 10, top 15, and we've come in and beat them, vice versa. So it sounds cliche, but yeah, I mean, you could throw the records out, and I think both teams are kind of in a mode of desperation. So it's a claim to play today.
Yeah, because I mean, this is really at a point where if you plan on being in the mix for the Big 12 championship, this is whoever wins this kind of solidifies himself in a good spot for where you want to be. And of course, who knows how the rest of the season is going to play out with some of the other conferences starting a little bit later. But this is one that whoever wins this one, it puts himself in a good spot to capture the Big 12 championship and see what happens after that.
Yeah, definitely.
So now you can see that we've been joined by Tre Thomas. He's going to join us and talk about his experiences as well. Tre, for the folks that don't know you, go ahead and introduce yourself to him, brother.
Tre Thomas, University of Texas alum, restaurateur, and looking forward to watching these Longhorns get in today. I attended University of Texas from 93 to 97. Oh yeah, and I played football. Somebody had to remind me. I forgot.
Throw that in there.
Yeah, I had to throw that in there. I was on the field a few times.
Just a few here and there, right?
Here and there, yeah.
Yeah. For those any of the younger alums and fans that are joining us, yeah, he was on the field more than just a little bit. Hey, Tre, what's with this being Texas OU weekend? What's one of your fondest memories about this Red River rivalry?
It was just always a lot of energy around the game, and the best parts were really just the whole experience in Dallas. It seemed like after every game, somebody was throwing a get together or doing something. And believe it or not, we had a lot of buddies on the OU side too. So pretty much after the game, win or lose, it was all the Texas guys from OU and all the Texas guys at Texas getting together and attending a party or doing something, man. So I still have bonds with a lot of the guys that played back in the day, like Anthony Fogle and Gerald Moore. But even though it was a rivalry and it was pretty intense, just the camaraderie on both sides after the games is what I remember most about it.
So kind of being able to keep it, the intense competition, keep it within the lines though, and then still able to forge some friendships.
Oh yeah.
What's your thoughts on the team this year and going into this game today?
Well, I think they're gonna have their hands full just because it's a big game. I tend to always think that when you got a senior quarterback like Ellinger, who's going into his senior year, that's gonna be your strongest team. That should be your strongest team. Right now, I think just defensively, we're not gelling right now. I watched a lot of the last game they played, and that was the frustrating part. Just defensively, I didn't see a lot of aggressiveness and just some missed assignments here and there. But I do like the offense, but I think defensively we just got to step up and do some things today. But I think OU is kind of a weak team this year, so I think we'll come out with a victory.
Hey, well, I ain't got no. If they're a little weak, we just beat up on them even all the more, get them down.
That's right.
And press them when they're there. So it's all good. Marcus, you got anything for Tre?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with what Tre said. I mean, I think, you know, it really comes down to, you know, making stops when you need to. A lot of times games like this will kind of come down to some of the momentum swings that Matt talked about earlier. So if you can get some, you know, a big stop here or there, turn around and then put the ball in the end zone yourself, that can go a long way. So, you know, you get in this game and, you know, it's a lot of big plays, huge momentum shifts throughout. And so it's just who can kind of weather that storm the best. But to Tre's point, you know, we do have the senior quarterback. You would hope that will play to our advantage. So you just got to hope the good Sam shows up today.
the good Sam and the good play calling. You know, sometimes as I've watched the game so far this year, you know, it gets into that. Are we trying to have a Heisman campaign, or are we trying to win games with a potential Heisman candidate? And because I think that influences how you go into the games. And I think that, and this is kind of one of my other keys to the game, will Sam have the most called run plays? So you're trying to put the balls in his hand. He can make plays. He's a big, strong kid. But we have some dynamic running backs. I think if you want to try to establish some things and take control of the game and possibly let some of our playmakers loose, they got to have the ball in their hands. You know, the run plays can't be, I don't even know what the play is called, but it looks like a sloppy draw play is what it looks like to me. It's not intentional. It's not downhill running, which we got to give our guys just a plan to make some plays, I think. But the more that the ball's going to need to be in Sam's hand for sure. But the more that we go Sam and Sam alone, if he leads the team in carries today, I think that's a bad sign. I'm
really hopeful too that
the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that they take advantage of the middle of the field too. You know, I think teams in the past several years, you haven't seen them throwing towards the middle much. If you look at a lot of our big plays this year, they've come from them attacking the middle of the field. And I've seen kind of a trend with some of the teams in recent years. It almost seems like they're afraid to go in the middle. But, you know, we're talking about the taller receivers. You had that big catch and run by Jared Wiley last week. It was just throwing him the ball across the middle of the field. I think the first play of the season, you know, that went to Josh Moore for a touchdown. It was just a deep in-breaking route, right? So, you know, really taking advantage of that, getting the guys ball in space and letting them run.
Absolutely. So, Tre, any other thoughts about the game? And then you can start telling us about, you mentioned that you're an entrepreneur, and I see the hat you got going on. Any other thoughts on the game? And then you can tell us a little bit more about the hat.
Man, just looking forward to a victory. I mean, it's been some rocky years being a Texas fan lately, man. So I'm looking forward to having a good, solid win and then building some momentum and finishing out strong in the Big 12 and playing for a championship. That's what I'm hoping to come out of this game. Absolutely. But back to my entrepreneurial side, I'm sitting in my restaurant. I started a restaurant called Catfish Station in 2004 out of a food truck. And I took the name from a famous spot that used to be in Austin that we used to all hang out at, if you're old enough to remember, Catfish Station. I grew the business and started franchising. At one time I had up to 14 locations, and franchising just proved to be a tough venture. And so I rebranded to the Station Seafood Company, and that's where I am now. I'm at the original, my first dine-in location, but I've rebranded the entire thing to the Station Seafood Company to kind of get a clean slate and start over.
And you're in Cypress. So what's the address there?
Yes, I'm at 9522 Huffmeister. I'm in Cypress off of 290. If there's any Longhorns or potential customers in the area, we're up here. I got some complimentary beer and wine, some mimosas, and I'm gonna play in the kitchen a little bit today. I got some things I'm gonna be cooking up that's not on the menu. So I got some expensive crab fingers in there for my bougie people.
Now hold up, man. Now hold up. I didn't know you were doing all that. I would have had to make a pandemic emergency trip to Houston or something. But
I mean, it's a big kitchen in there, man. So I play in there all the time. That's how I come up with all kinds of stuff.
That's good stuff. And so for those who don't know, just with the restaurants that Tre has owned in Houston, he's been a great partner and supporter with Best Houston for different events. And short of the pandemic, we probably would have been up in there thick today. So whether you need some catfish, shrimp, crab legs, where you need them today, tomorrow, next week, next month, don't forget about Tre up in Cypress. When you're on the move, going around town, you got meetings across town, hey, swing through Cypress and get you some lunch and get you some dinner.
Yes, sir.
Tre, what? Now, I mean, I've been to the restaurants. I know what I like. But what are some of the patron favorites that you got going on there at the station?
So the newest thing that I came up with is I call it a sky roll. I don't call it a sky roll. I had a friend of mine, we were messing around in the kitchen again. It's a artisan egg roll with shrimp, bacon, and chipotle sauce. And we hand roll them, and customers are really enjoying that. But I'll be remiss if I didn't give the shout out to the original creator, Southern Sky Rolls. But we did come up with it in our kitchen, so I take joint credit for it. We did it over here. So,
There you
So,
go. There
he
you
let
go.
me put it on my menu, but we created it here. But that's been really popular with a lot of our customers, man.
Fantastic. So give us the address one more time and where people can find you, and so they'd be reminded to come get them some seafood.
It's 9522 Huffmeister, and again, that's in Northwest Houston, Cypress, Texas area. And if you're here today, if you're in the area, just want to come hang out, we're gonna be up here all day. I got my family coming up. Some other players are joining me later, and we're just gonna cheer on this team and hope we can come out of here with a dub.
I hear that. Now, Trey, I'm just going to tell you, because there was a general comment that was cast your direction last night as we were raising money last night for Soul Night. We raised $6,700, had a stretch goal of 7,000. We're sitting at 6,700, and everybody can give through various platforms. We'll share, and there's been some stuff in the chat. Some people put in the chat, where are the athletes? Where are the former athletes? And I was like, hey man, so I'm just telling you, they some people calling y'all out. I know you support, and I know you're there, and Marcus has supported and donated. But I'm just letting you know.
I know
that people are calling the athletes out. I'm just saying. So people are asking. So you need to start spreading the word.
We got y'all.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I will be the voluntary spokesman for the athletes from 93 to 97. And what y'all say, y'all 300 short from 7? 3,000 short. Oh, I can't do that. I was
that's my girl. My girl Summer won't miss a moment.
Summer sitting right here next to me. I'm like 300. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Because that was the goal for last night. Still, the goal for the weekend is then to extend it to strive to get to 10. That's the stretch goal for the weekend.
Now 300 will take us to 7.
That's what I'm saying. I'm good for 300 because it came out of my mouth. But that 3,000, no, I can't. We just got out after the first of the month, man.
Hey, but your example, and hey, I wouldn't, for everybody know, I wasn't calling out Trey. Trey has been a supporter and continues to support, and we knew he was going to already come through and support what we're doing. But now that sets a benchmark for other business owners, former players, 90s, and also another thing got called out last night. Don't blame the messenger. I'm just telling you what happened, okay? Most of the donations came from what generation, what decade? The 90s. You better believe it, baby. We continue to carry the shoulder and the load. Now the 80s, some 80s people came through and represented. I know that Dr. Wyatt last night, she challenged people from the 80s to step up and give 250. We had Katrinka Pouncey. She jumped in and donated 1,000. And then she said, if anybody want to jump in and match her, she was going to donate some more money to even up the ante, even all the more. She said, jump if you can. Do what you got. Katrinka, I haven't played spades with her, but my guess is that she can talk a whole lot of noise. Playing spades, she probably talk bad to you. So with that, hey Trey, thank you for that commitment and that pledge. And I know that Summer will make sure that it's not just a pledge. But I know you're a man of your word.
I'm gonna show y'all the check. I'm gonna write the check right now.
It's all good, baby. It's all good.
I got you.
All right. So here we go with 1040. It's 1040, and OU still sucks. But as we get ready to continue on with the best pregame show, advancing toward, the virtual tailgate we'll have later. The next person we'll have join us. I guess I was able to start with a cue. Now I can bring another one in. We got Clarence Hill joining us in. He's of course a beat writer for the Fort Worth Star Telegram. He's a beat writer for the Cowboys. But he has some knowledge and info and insight and thoughts that we look forward to him sharing with us today. So, Clarence, what's your initial thoughts going into the game today?
Well, I'm frustrated. As a long-suffering Longhorn fan, I think most Longhorn fans got PTSD right now. I mean, it's like it is frustrating that we've gone this long, and I remember when Mac was fired. Mac got fired after he had 8 wins. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was a low point. it seemed like we'd be happy to have 8 wins right now. And you know, and I was an advocate for Mac being fired because, you know, just because you build it don't mean you get to tear it down. They were struggling at the end of Mac's tenure, and there were a lot of things going on that needed to be taken to the next level. But right now, it's frustrating to watch this teams play. You know, from the Charlie Strong era to now the Tom Herman era, the play of the defense. You know, it is frustrating to watch them not be able to tackle, not be able to cover. You know, this used to be DBU, and we used to have, you know, linebackers and defensive linemen who got after the quarterback and really stoned people. You don't see that, and it's tough watching them play. It's frustrating. Every game this year, you know, they may win against OU, but there's no guarantees on the schedule because of the way that defense plays. And what you saw against Tech, what you saw against TCU, every game seemed like it's going to be coming down to a coin flip at the end of the game, who has the ball or who makes a play, or whether Texas makes a crucial mistake at the end of games. It's not fun watching Texas play anymore. It's not fun. It used to be fun.
To Clarence's point, you know, he talking about the number of wins. You know, I remember when we were there, we'd lose 2 games and people are booing and calling for heads, and we'll be up by 20, but we'll just say there may be some people that had financial interest and they weren't pleased with how the game was going, and they wanted us to be up by maybe 21, and we were getting booed, you know, and we're blowing people out. So, you know, I mean, I'd kill for those days at this point, man.
Yeah, I mean, Texas is supposed to be, you know, you look at the traditional powers, you know, whether it's Ohio State, Alabama, you know, it's okay to have a down year, but for Texas to be where they are and to be floundering where they are, and with all due respect, scuffling against the TCUs of the world and the Baylors of the world, with the amount of money and the resources put into this program, you know, that's not satisfactory. You know, they are 2-7 against TCU, I think, since TCU joined the conference.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's where, you know, we got to just face the reality of where we are. You know, even this team playing right now, if the previous head coach was still there, there'd probably be a lot of uprising, but we surely won't talk about that right now.
Well, they're talking about it. I'm not. Don't. Tom Herman ain't on easy street. I just want to let you know with the boo, he ain't on easy street.
Yeah, and so that's important. At least let there be some equity in that regard. But the Texas, you know, the win over Tech, yeah, we won, but 7 points. And you know, it's always tough to go out to love it.
Tech is awful.
You know, then they always bring it. But it was, we won, but by 7 points. And then by losing to TCU by 2 points, well, that was the final score. But it kind of, if you watch the game, it was further away than that. So now being able to, what's your thoughts on the team's tenacity and ability to just effectively operate in close games? How do you, I guess, do you trust the coaching staff and the player execution in those tight, tense moments?
No, you don't trust the coaching staff. They continue to get out coached. You go back to the TCU game, and those were coaching issues. When TCU scored his winning touchdown, they basically saw the middle was wide open and did the quarterback draw. I mean, that's a coaching thing. You know, those are coaching. They routinely get out schemed. And you know, go back to Mac, and I would say a lot of times Texas got out coached during the Mac era, but the talent was so great that they were able to overcome it. Now you can't overcome it because the talent disparity is not there. You're not more talented these teams. Then when you get out coached, those coaching errors, you know, set you back. So, you know, coaching it's been a huge issue. It's still a huge issue on this team, but also players. I mean, defensively, it's just to watch defensive players get knocked off the ball and not get done. And then offensively, they don't have a go-to receiver. And one thing that you've seen over the last few years, at least they had somebody they could count on. Right now, I don't know who you can count on. And again, I go back to coaching. I mean, Jake Smith hadn't played in 3 games, and you know, and the kid from Yoakum had been the star receiver the first 2 games of the season. TCU, Jake Smith, first game out, he gets all the balls. You know, why are we trying to make Jake Smith the superstar in the first game? He hadn't played all year. You know, and Joshua Moore, you know, don't get the balls he got, you know, in the first 2 games. He was the star receiver for the team the first 2 games.
Yeah, that's one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, I look for Joshua Moore even for the productivity he had in a couple of games, I mean, I was just, if I was going to ride with a player, I like Tariq Black, but especially as a grad transfer coming in, but just the things I think Joshua Moore as a sophomore is able to contribute and do, his athleticism, his toughness, even going across the middle or deep post. But yeah, you're right. We don't go to those things, which is just confusing when you see this team. It's like we have throughout the year, maybe not much different than the Cowboys. It's almost like you have three different forms of offense that you do. Very predictable, very plain Jane, and then very explosive. And so how do you get some consistency from the coaching staff and the players so that you can consistently and with effectiveness do the things that you want to do to take control of games that you absolutely should control.
Right, you do what you do best. And it's funny because I've talked to my friends and say I've been one of the people that I didn't like Sam running all the time because how you get running backs at Texas when Sam was always scoring all the touchdowns on the goal line, do a power to Sam and not handing the ball to running back. Last week I wish they had gave the ball to Sam. It's like I know one thing, Sam wasn't gonna get the ball up on the goal line. I mean, I wish they'd have ran power to Sam. I'm like, why didn't you run? That's what y'all normally do, and they didn't run power to Sam.
Yeah,
do what you do. It didn't do what you do.
Yeah.
And they don't run power to Sam. Sam power always works on the goal line. And I know he wasn't gonna give it up. It may take him for time to get 1 yard, but he wasn't gonna give it up.
He wasn't gonna give it up. Yeah, he wasn't gonna give it up. That was hard.
He wasn't gonna get up, and then you look at and the explosion of offense. I mean, Ingram got a score on that play anyway, but you got a 5-star running back from Arizona. Where is he? I mean, it's the running back position. That's the easiest place to come in and perform as a freshman. I mean, you look at all the great running backs; they start as freshmen. If you're that dude, you can come in and play as a freshman. And we haven't seen much from him so far, and you need a difference maker. The thing is, outside of Sam was a nice quarterback, but where are the difference makers on offense? You look at TCU and Tech, and you go to Oklahoma State. They got special receivers who can out jump you and got athleticism. And where is that difference maker on Tech? We got nice receivers. I mean, Josh Moore's a nice player, but are they difference makers? Are they like guys that you got to scheme against? Where is that difference maker on offense to make up for some gaps you have? And that's the frustrating thing. So Texas, they have to play a perfect game on offense to make up for that defense. And that's certainly going to be the case today. I mean, OU was going to score. OU's had his issue. This is not the OU team of the years past, and they struggling with a freshman quarterback. Matt, you see what happens when you don't have a ready-made transfer quarterback that's a Heisman Trophy candidate coming into your program. Now you got to live like everybody else, and you're going to have the same mistakes. And that's what OU is going through. But they still have some talented players. But again, defensively, you can't trust the defense to stop anybody. And so the offense has to be perfect. They have to be efficient and maximize their opportunities.
Yeah, and as much as I would like I'm one of those guys, that like some defensive plays and the defensive struggle. But we know that the game today won't be that. I believe the line is 50. And if you are of the betting persuasion, you better take the over.
50 is low.
Someone told me it's closer to 72. I personally wouldn't know that, but
okay, I must have got bad information there. Maybe that was
it can't be 50. It got to be 72.
That's why when I saw it, but I didn't go fact check it. I don't have regular.
Might be 72 and a half.
All right, 7. It might be.
And I would take the over with that.
I would as well.
If I was a gambling man, I would take over with that. For sure. Hey, Marcus, as a former football player, are you frustrated though? I mean, it's tough watching. Used to be fun watching them play.
Man. I mean, you know how these things go for us, man. Like we have our own little group chats and text messages, and we do what we can to support them. But we get, we have a standard, that we I mean, in the 5 seasons I was there, we lost 7 games. I mean, I've seen these cats lose 7 in a year. So I don't. For me, it's a foreign thing, but we just do what we can to get behind them. Hope that things will turn around sooner rather than later. So yeah, it's frustrating, but you got a day like today, you wait all year for it. So we just hope that everything that's happened at this point don't really matter too much.
Absolutely. So hey, Clarence, we appreciated you joining us, man. This time is flying by, and we could just chop it up. But we're all looking forward to kickoff We got a couple other things that we want to do today, but Clarence C. Hill Shoe, thank you for joining us and chiming in, and we look forward to seeing you.
Appreciate you, man.
Brother.
Thank you, guys. Hook 'em.
All right, so Trey, as we get ready to go in and maybe open up the camera feed where people can come on and show what they're doing for the virtual tailgate. Come on, man, go ahead and give me your keys to the game, and then I'm gonna ask you for a score prediction as well, brother.
Is Trey coming back? Do you want me?
No, I'm talking to you. Yeah, Trey.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, so yeah, man, I think, you know, it kind of comes down to what we talked about earlier, and what you hear sounds cliche, but you know, turnovers are the name of the game. So protecting the ball and trying to take it away. A lot of the hidden yards that you can pick up in special teams. You know, you saw all the different issues we had there. Had a return call back that would have been a big, you know, deal for us last week. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way I see it going. You know, I'd love the defense to show up, you know, in a big way, but I kind of see a high scoring affair. So I'm thinking we're something in the range of like a 38-35 maybe. Texas for the win.
Start dancing.
All right, hey, Trey, since you jump back on, give me a score prediction there, brother.
Oh, shoot. They scoring points like crazy these days. Probably 35-24, Texas. I don't know. Hey, but Marcus hit it on the head. It's gonna come down. I bet it's gonna come down to a big turnover or momentum plays. That's gonna swing the game. That's usually what happens in these games.
Yeah, and I think that turnovers can always be a factor in a big game like this. I think how we start, so we can establish, you know, some momentum and carry it forward. Oh man, look at him showing it to us, show him to him. As I mentioned earlier, I think the rushing, it's not only rushing yards, it's how we get those rushing yards. And I think calling for some productivity for multiple people in the background. I want to see, you know, where Sam doesn't lead the team in carries, because I think that speaks to us trying to, you know, if OU can still put up some points, we'll keep them on the sideline for a little bit, be productive, be explosive, and then those yards after contact. Can we defensively, can we be where we need to be, and can we make the plays to get the Sooners on the ground and keep it going? Game like today, you got to show up ready to play. I mean, you guys know that as former players for sure. Show up ready to play. The crowd noise may not be there, but you got to bring the intensity. It may not be there for you to feed off of it. So for those guys who are returning players, those juniors and seniors, they've been there when it's 100,000 screaming fans. So they are ones that might know the difference. But to your point earlier, Marcus, the younger players, they won't know the difference, and maybe having a smaller crowd won't add to the intensity of it all with everything going on. So, I mean, just for me as well, I think I already mentioned Joshua Moore. We'll see which of the running backs can have a big game. And then who are the potential players that nobody's really talking about for either team, but today could very well be there kind of coming out party, you know, for us. As we get ready to go to a close and we can start the virtual tailgate. Marcus, you got any other thoughts that you want to add?
No, man, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a guy that nobody's talking about, but I could definitely see Bijan Robinson having a breakout today. Would be good to see some big plays out of him. So I'm hoping that he can kind of get out in the open field and cut loose.
I feel you on that for sure. So as we get ready to, we're gonna see if as long as we don't have any technical difficulties for some giveaways we were gonna do today. But I do want to remind everybody that we are raising money this weekend. Texas OU has traditionally and continues to be, you know, the biggest fundraising weekend where we're able to fund our scholarship program and other programs that we do on campus for recruitment and retention. So Tamika's gonna spin this wheel, and we got some prizes we're gonna give away. And then if anybody has, feel free, if you're on now, go ahead and turn your camera on. We'll go where everybody can see and just have a good time together. Go ahead and spin that wheel, Tamika, and tell me who we got.
Man, that was quick. That wheel didn't spin.
And how did Tony win, man?
Tony Jones, he on the payroll.
How Jones win?
How about that?
We can do another one.
Tony said, "Don't leave me out. Don't skip me." No, I want to be, you know, saying I stole him from his opportunity now. So Tony Jones, it was a Longhorn water bottle. We'll get to the point where we can see the names later. So Paula McLeod.
Yeah.
So I don't have the names up. So the next gift that was in line was the Texas throw blanket. Texas throw blanket. So Adrian, right there. Well, keep the Adrian, Payne, keep the names in order there for me. And so as we're spinning the wheel, it's important to understand.
Oh, look at that. We just missed.
Oh, you can see your name on there. You missed it.
Won. Okay.
Who won? I didn't. I got something else on.
Benoit.
Okay. And that's the lady, the Longhorn ladies pampering package. So that's number 3. Keep it going, Tamika. Adrian, keep track of the numbers, please, for me, ma'am. We're trying to get done. We don't want y'all to miss kickoff.
I'm saying while y'all doing that, I'm about to go turn the game on real quick. I'll be right back.
So Bryant Robinson, B-Rob, you won it's a sip and chill, relax package. It has a deluxe robe and 2 orange shot glasses. All right, keep it going, Tamika.
I'm not even a possibility.
I got another screen on top. Tamika, who's the
Ticely Medley.
Oh, Ticely Medley, okay. That's a Texas car details package. Has some coasters to put in the car to soak up the moisture, a keychain with a bottle opener and a decal.
Is that it?
After that, we got one more Longhorn drinks package, just some coasters and 2 white insulated wine or water cups. Most people probably put wine in. And Kim Yancey, so she has the Longhorn drink package.
Okay.
The fruit of the vine can go in it for the first lady. Fruit of the vine, unfermented or fermented. So it's all good. Y'all chill out. So hey, now we're gonna we asking everybody if you want to participate in the virtual tailgate, you can turn the cameras on just so people can see what you got going on. Hey Thoma, has your folks started to arrive? What they doing in there?
Yeah, we've got a couple people. So I'll show you.
You know how we do sometimes. We roll in right at kickoff.
Sometimes.
So now we get closer to kickoff. So Trey, what's going through the players' mind right now as they're getting ready for kickoff? What was your experiences? And how did you handle the environment, maybe compared to your freshman year versus your senior year?
I'm sorry, man. I had you on mute. Repeat that one more time.
What do you think is going through the players' minds, and how did you handle the excitement and the atmosphere of the game, especially your freshman year compared to your senior year?
What's going through their minds right now is just getting all that nervous energy out, man. I was always super tired, like the first 3 or 4 plays, just because you just going too hard. And it takes about a good series to calm down. But the biggest difference from my freshman year to my senior year, we were just cocky. we knew we was good, man. Like for real, we knew we was good. I hate to say it like that, but we had a special.
Nah,
group.
that's real, man.
Yeah, we had a special group of my senior year, man. And even though our record wasn't as good as it was our junior year, man, that was a great team. We had a good team.
Oh, y'all had some balls for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep. And we had a great time all the time. That might have been the problem. That might have been it.
Hey, well, Marcus, closing thoughts from you, sir. We got a few other people that have turned in.
No, man, you see there on Thomas that they're taking the field now, and I mean that's the Tre, that's like no other, man. Like when you come down that tunnel and you got them right there next to you, coming out their locker room, you coming right across from yours. So it's a great feeling. It's good to see. I see we got the icy whites on today, so I'm hoping for it to be a good one.
Hey, all right. So hey, as we get ready to go to a close, you see people still chiming in, and it will, as long as there's people on here, we'll leave the video open. As you can see, Adrian and Summer, they have the mask on. Those are still available. There's the orange one that they have, or the black with the orange lettering on it, has the Longhorn, and then at the bottom, #BestAtHome. Take your pictures today, #BestAtHome. We might be doing some more giveaways with pictures that we see and shouting people out. We are still raising money. This is our biggest fundraising weekend to support the scholarship program and the things we're trying to do to help current students and fund our programs for recruitment and retention. And there are some things we're working on with the administration and the partnering with the Black Alumni Network and the precursors to keep it moving forward. We got, oh, thank you. There go Adrian showing the black one. We got a stretch goal from yesterday, 7,000. We're there, and Summer has the check for Trey. So we know we're at 7,000. Let me check my phone right quick if I have any other donations that have been made, but we're taking donations. That's not going down, of course. And then we also have, through the same Eventbrite event, there are other events that are coming up in the future that are listed on there that you can register for. So what we're really doing, even with the hashtag best at home, it's not just about this weekend alone. There's a variety of different events that we got coming up for the different chapters are hosting. And I don't even have time to go through all of those. I want you to be able to see kickoff. I need to get going so I can see mine. But we have another webinar coming up, Black Voices Voting. Well, it's too late to register to vote, but make sure you make a plan to vote. BEST is a non-political organization. We ain't telling you who to vote for, but we're just encouraging you to vote. Get educated and vote. We got the webinar coming up on the 21st. Well, BEST Austin is hosting an event on November the 1st. Actually, the first event coming up, though, will be BEST Houston and BEST Galveston are partnering together to host an event with Rustic Brush. If you live in the Houston, Galveston County area, there's all of the events hosted by the different chapters. You can attend them from anywhere, but the unique thing about that is because you're actually going to do this craft, you need to be there in that area so you can get your stuff. There is a location in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that we'll be able to get your supplies to you as well, but you can get all of those information on all of those events. All of them are virtual. You can get all those online. Go to blackexit.net, go to the Eventbrite page. And man, let's get ready for kickoff. Let me see who else is on the screen here for us. Thoma's still there. They got the screen going. Adrian, what you got going over there today? Talk to me, Adrian. What you got going over there?
I am just prepared and ready for this game, ready for this win, y'all. We about to do the damn thing.
I don't have a mute or a filter button. So
Come on, sit down real quick, Jay.
It's tailgating, no filters, no filters.
It is true. It's tailgate, no filters.
Tailgating.
Who you got there with your Summer? Who's that? Hey,
James just walked in, man.
So we got James Brown, former Texas quarterback. Hey, James, how you doing this morning, brother? Summer, turn the mute off. We got James Brown, former Texas Longhorn quarterback. How you doing today?
Well, good morning, man. It is still morning. This is always early.
Yeah, it's always early. I heard that part. I don't know if it's crowd noise or tell Trey to turn his camera off too. What are you looking forward to for the game? And then we'll let Marcus hit you up with a question. What you looking forward to the game? What are you expecting to happen today?
Looking forward to the first round right here. Man, we come out and play, man. You know, this game is just always even.
Hey, we having problems hearing you. Someone got her prepaid phone or something. Jump over to Trey's phone. Jump over to Trey's phone so we can hear you better. She's gonna get me for that, but yeah. So what are you looking forward to for the game? What you expecting?
We need to just play some good football, man. No turnovers. You know, in a game like this, it's just all about mistakes. You got to limit mistakes. You know, both of these teams score a lot of points. The Big 12 has been scoring a lot of points, but you know, we got to step up and be some bullies, man. You know, you got everybody trying to aim at you. Really, you know, teams are trying to give us 110%. And you have to know that about being a Longhorn. You know, we make everybody's season, so you gotta play your best 100%. Plus, you gotta match the 10% that everybody else is giving. So you gotta play 110%. You gotta be ready, man. You know, I think you gotta come out aggressive. You know, you gotta have an attitude for the rest of the season. That's what I feel like this team needs to take hold of. Take hold of the rankings that they were giving them. We were number 6. You gotta take that. And you just got to be aggressive out there because teams really, really want to beat you.
Yeah, I like that. We need to come out and be a bully. And so, hey, we're going to keep the virtual tailgate going. As long as people are here, we'll keep it open. But this was my concern. Thoma, screen, his cable shot's a little bit quicker than mine, so I'm a little
Yeah,
offended.
it's a little
So I
faster
can't
than
be.
mine too. I'm
Hey,
gonna have
Tamika,
to. I'm
we're
gonna
gonna
have to go.
we're gonna have to kill Thoma's video feed because he's gonna make me mad. So, but hey, thanks to
Hey,
everybody
keep
for joining
your
us.
horns up, man. If I see
Hey.
anybody put horns down, I'm angry today.
We're
We're
angry
be young
today.
if somebody puts some horns down.
James Brown is setting the mood for us. We need to play angry. The quarterback is trying to tell us how to do it and how to get it done. Again, we appreciate everybody for joining us on the Soul Night last night and for coming out for the pregame show and tailgate. Man, that hour flew by, but we're looking forward to the game. I'm even chiming out. Maybe we'll reconnect on halftime if you want to jump back on. But for now, hey, hook 'em horns. Let's go to work, baby. Donate, donate, donate.
Hook 'em, hook 'em.
Hook 'em.
All right, I'm ag today.